discussion, and then it's actually really nice to like a very convenient. So I'd like to introduce Alo, and then Alo is sponsoring us for this event. So Alo from CSO, Edward from Alo from San Francisco will introduce his company and like give us a little tutorial about it. Like give a clap to Edward.
Yay! Welcome, Edward.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Cheng-Li. Let me share my screen, and then can you enable me to share my screen? Thank you.
Yes, already.
Yep. Thank you. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Happy Saturday, and then hello from San Francisco. I'm coming from San Francisco today, and we are Alo, and my name is Edward Alo, and it's a great honor for us to introduce ourselves to you and support your event today. So just gonna walk you through like what our company does and what we build. Let's see. Okay. So we built this product to empower people to connect. And especially now with the COVID-19 era, I think it is very important to boost the engagement for the meeting participant, like virtual meeting participant, for the people who lead the meeting, like visual practitioners and facilitators. If you take a look at the enterprise side, it's a lot of like mess, like companies using like 100, 200 different apps for the people who work remote, and then people who work hybrid. So a lot of companies nowadays like work remote and hybrid. So like top 10% of companies use like about 100 apps. So when we spoke with our customers, there was a lot of problem for like juggling different tools every day, and especially like if you're leading meetings and if you facilitate the meetings, you have to like, oh, let me share my screen and let me change my screen to different things. So it is really becoming a big problem these days. So we built the platform called Alo, and you can collaborate here, and you can review documents, and you can give feedbacks, and also you can manage your projects and tasks, and you can video chat. And the good thing about this product is, if you think of a whiteboard, it's a little bit hard to make that to a document. But our whiteboard works just like a document, so you don't have to like crop and then Ctrl C and Ctrl V to your document. You can just populate the document right out of our platform. So it's just a sneak peek. After this, our colleague Jake will show you how the actual product works. But this is just a sneak peek of what it looks like. So you can, as you can see, you can video chat here. You can see the right-hand side, there's a little white space where you can put your sticky notes. And now you can see like Andre, Eva, and Rachel are working together on the board. So you can use it virtually, like on Zoom, and before the meeting and after the meeting. So it looks like this. If you're like leading a brainstorming meeting, like you can share your goals and you can learn insights from others. And you can like reference to many different types of documents. Like you can share PDF files, and you can even share like Adobe professional files, and even like YouTube, you can share it and then you can play it online. And we also provide templates. So if you don't have time to make your own templates, you can retrieve templates from our templates. Also, you can customize your templates. So if you want to customize your templates, and then you can just retrieve it, whatever templates that you want in your meeting. So it's very convenient. And we provide like all different kinds of cross-platform apps. So if you use PC, Mac, you can download desktop app, or if you use iPad, we have iPad app, an app for iPhone, and Android tablet and Android phones. And if you don't want to download anything, you can just go to Chrome or Safari or any other internet browser and just type allo.io, and you can use this exactly same thing. I think lots of you may are curious about like what it's like. So we just compared other products with ours. I think like as a visual practitioners, you use like some of you use like Miro and Mural. Those are great tools. But with Allo, because it's a document-like structure, it's a great visual tool, but at the same time, it's organizable and manageable. So a bit about our history. So we launched our global product November last year. And since then, about a year, we grew 10 times in terms of users. Now, about 350,000 monthly users that we have. And we secured a partnership with Zoom. So it's a great tool to use with Zoom. And recently, we were selected in a SoftBank's annual event as one of the top 25 enterprise softwares to use. So nowadays, about 15,000 teams and educational institutions use our product, like company like Samsung, Cisco, and like famous Silicon Valley startups like Box.com or Consensus Health, and universities like MIT and Cornell use our product. So yeah, that's about the quick introduction to our company. And we have offices in Silicon Valley and also in Korea, Seoul, Korea. So if you have any questions, just ping me or any of our colleagues. Yeah, that's about the quick introduction. And I'll turn the stage to our colleague, Jake, to show you how the product actually works. Jake?
Okay. Can you enable me to share the screen?
Yeah, sure. You can now.
Then share my screen. So can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So this is our canvas and where the magic happens. As you may notice, it looks similar to PowerPoint and everybody can easily understand how to use it. But it's more than that. And this is a simple example that how our canvas can become like. Now you see the photos and annotations and Google spreadsheet and checklist, website, PDF documents, Figma design, everything you will likely use when you work. So this is Allo in action. If you were to do the same thing in any tools, you will end up writing a bunch of text and a ton of blue underlined hyperlinks. And that ends here. Let's see how we can use Allo. So moving on to the third page, here I will show you some basics. And here's a toolbar at the left, and there is a sticky note tool. Let's open it. And let's add a sticky note with a checklist by just dragging and dropping like that. Or just you can try a simple sticky as well. Like this, then you add it. And stickers for your reaction. Also, you can just drop it here like that, or thumbs ups, or any icons you love to use, like copy, then, oh, okay. No copy and anything, any icons like this. So, and then draw something to point out with a pen like this at the end, and so much more. So you can search YouTube video directly inside about the landing page. Then, for instance, and play this right here, as Edward mentioned. Then, yeah, if you have some images, then drop here directly from your desktop or Microsoft Office documents, or even videos. No, there's no limit. So no more, this format is not supported. And then preview any documents in here, like the Microsoft Excel files or Word documents. like this. You're just proving any documents or even videos as well. So, and of course, everything in real time, just like a whiteboard. You see John's cursor here and yeah, moving around. And not only this whiteboarding, you got chat at the right, like this. Then you can just start a chat right inside a canvas. So you got a real-time and easy to use whiteboard and a toolbar at the left and the chat at the right. So everything you need is just a few clicks away. And the best part of this PowerPoint-like layout is that you can just read it through just like a document and few more. I'll add a new page at the end like a PowerPoint and there, wait a second, then there we go. We got the flow chart. It just took a few minutes to draw this whole thing because this is connecting arrow to the shape you want, like this, like this. It just works. This is one of the best part of Allo, and because it gives better sense of how to read and how to engage to your collaborators or participants, no matter how old they are and how familiar they are with Allo. So let me show you another example quickly. In the workshop, there are some modules and there might be some group activities. Here's how. You make a template for the participants in advance, then it may look like this. Ice breaking at the first, then a simple guide for that, and probably a brainstorming inside, then a play module that everybody's drawing architecture as per the guide. Then share this canvas to your collaborators with a link, then we are all set. It was really easy to guide for our customers to guide their clients or students or anyone, because whoever in this kind of workshop could understand how to use it and what to do right away. So thank you for watching.
Thank you, Jake and Edward. Yeah, so I think to have our participants to understand what Jake and Edward has explained, we will have some parts of this workshop to get everybody to try with Allo. I think it's pretty cool and easy to use. Thank you so much. Jillian, you want to say some words to Edward and Jake before we move to the next part? Jillian. Jillian, you want to say some words? Oh, okay. Anyway, thank you, Edward and Jake, for your presentation. I would like to invite you to you can stay here. You already answered a few questions in the chat box, and I hope if people have some more questions, we will send it to you later on. And I hope that Allo will be known as many participants here as we can, and maybe after this we use Allo. And we, on behalf of the Asia board kind of thing, I really thank you so much for being our sponsor this year for IFVP Asia. We are looking forward to our further collaboration in the next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chung Lee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tim,
Thank you.
do you want to introduce about IFVP and our regional events a little bit? You want to share some slides or what?
Sure. Do you have the slides? The logo and the...
Yeah, you can share from your side.
Oh, I don't have the slide ready.
Okay.
On my side. Sorry. We're all doing so many things.
So you can just say something, and our team will just raise our hand like that. I will spotlight all of us.
Great, welcome. So I see friends from Korea and Japan, and a lot from Thailand and Vietnam, Singapore. Very good. Can I see where is? Well, in a while we're going to go into a room. We're going to do a great activity to sort of see where everyone is at. Yeah, I think that the Allo sounds like a great tool for like sharing different platforms, different documents, and different ways of collaborating, a little bit more detailed and manageable. And I like that it's the the document based, like the, the slide based. So that also gives it a good format to share and use and go directly into presentations. Yeah, so we have the slides ready to introduce our event.
Julia, do you have the slide out there?
The video.
Or if not, we can just show our cup and then we just say hello to the audience. Okay. We already
here's our cup.
Yeah, we prepared some cups, our styles from 5 countries representing IFVP Asia here. And yeah, today we would like to invite all of you to bring your creativity, and we are going to have creativity time. Afterwards, we have a very cool session facilitated by Tommy from Japan, and we are going to definitely have some tea time together, and we will be surely enjoy that session, but we will wait. So Tim, do you want to introduce about IFVP now or maybe at the end?
Yeah, sure. He could do a quick introduction now.
Yeah, I think too. You can share screen and and say some thank you to our volunteer crew as well.
Yes, please make me a co-host. I cannot share a slide.
Okay. Okay, you are.
All right. Moment, please. All right. Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Right. A moment, please. All right. Thank you so much for the allos to support us on behalf of the IFVP Asia Initiative team. IFVP is established for almost 26 years. If we compare with a person, is will like the first jobber who started his career and then have a lot of big dream and have so many journey ahead to explore. The IFVP is the communities of the visual practitioner, which is the groups of people who use the visual practice skills to solve the problems in so many ways, like the facilitators, the visual recorders, the trainer, coaching, designer, whatever. And they are gathering the professionals around the world. We have almost like 50 countries, visual practitioner. And since the pandemic, we have to adapt the annual conference to be virtual, right? And next year, of course, please save the date. They will have the global conference in Bilbao, Spain, on the 20 to 22nd July of 2023. Oh, 22, sorry. And yes, they can be both in person, so in virtually. They have 9 months ahead. Please save the date. And of course, if anyone who is the visual practitioner, please take time to do the global survey, which is IFVP want to know your feedback, want to know your information more to use in order to improve their service and even the planning for the community. I will send the link in the chat box. It will take like 5 or 7 minutes to finish the survey. And then we have the promotion for the people who join the event. They have the 15% discount if you enroll for the news or renew members for IFVP. Since today to 22nd November, you will get 15% discount. As well as the Paperlike offer the 50% discount for the iPad screen protector for the news or renew membership IFVP as well. And last but not least, IFVP want to announce that they're open for the boards of the director nomination from all over the world. But you have to be the IFVP members, and you have to be like doer person and motivated person who want to contribute your skills and time for the community. And the second thing is the OLS, which is the online learning series of the IFVP, which is you can you can join the community to design and to deliver the online course, which is I have the groups of people who working with this project, very interesting project. And yes, the last one, on behalf of the IFVP Asia, please accept our sincere appreciation for all the volunteers from each country, especially for Vietnam. You contribute a lot. You have lots of, volunteer to spend the energy, help and support this event happen. Volunteer from Thailand, Singapore, South Korea, Japan, everyone, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yep.
Thank you too for a very warm welcome. And again, I would like to send my deepest gratitude to our volunteer team from 5 countries who worked really hard. I really appreciate that. After this, we are going to have a very fun activity. But before that, I would like to really welcome our 2 special guest speakers today. We have Ayat Go and we have Christopher Fuller. So I really want to invite you guys to appear on our main screen. Let me spotlight you. If you want, you can just say hello.
Hello.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, everybody. Hi. I'm happy to be here.
Hi, Chris.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm trying to spotlight Ayat. Ayat, wait for like
wait.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. I'm fighting you. Yay! So we have our
hi.
There you are.
You can say hello to them.
I can see you.
And thank you, team, so much for inviting our 2 guest speakers today. I'm so excited. I'm very excited about what you are going to share today. Thank you so much. So I would like to go through our main agenda today so that Chris and Ayat, you guys can catch up with it about the timing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Did you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, so here is the agenda today. After this, I would like to invite Tim to facilitate the check-in session where we are going to use a platform together and answer some very interesting questions from Tim. And we already done with introduction from Edward and Jake. After that is some, I call it a mini workshop from Chris. And after Chris, we have a sensory interactive showcase from our 5 countries. We are going to represent 5 senses. You guys will experience the empathy map elements. After that, we are going to meet Ayat Go, who is very well known as a leader and of the course, back of the napkin. So we are welcome all the questions from you to Ayat and Chris today. And the Q&A session will be facilitated by Tim and our 2 guest speakers. After that is a very cool session that I'm very, very waiting for. That is the creativity time facilitated by Tommy. And after the 5 sessions, we have a gallery walk where you can see all the graphic recordings in one page facilitated by Jillian. And yeah, maybe some wrap up and some announcement from IFVP afterwards. We are going to take some screenshot and we are going to do a very quick checkout before we say goodbye. So that is the agenda of today's session. I would like to put some fireworks so that we can cheer up. I really like this part. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So now I would like to share this Mural board link again in the chat box so we can work all together with the facilitation from Tim. Tim, you want to say something before we invite everybody to join the Mural board?
Okay, so yeah, so if you're familiar with, the virtual collaboration tool of Mural, it's a great way to create a limitless space. So we have the whole agenda in there and we have all the programs. And so we're going to be using that as a way to harvest ideas and content from you, drawings, pictures that you want to upload later from some of the sessions, and any sketch notes that you create. There's a few other areas in there we'll show you in a while, but maybe set us up to the main session, Chun-Li.
What is that, Tim?
If you can open us to the main session, send the link to the mural.
Yeah, I send it in the chat box, so you can.
Okay.
You want me to share it, or you will share it? You can share it.
Yep. Okay. Let me open it.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I will wait. I will resend it.
Okay, so just take a minute if you're able to log into that.
Yes, exactly.
See everybody running around in there already.
Can you share it from there, Tim? Or I can help you to share the screen. Okay, I can see someone is working on it already. So Tim, you wanna instruct everybody to join the check-in part? Okay,
great. Okay, so I welcome you first to our tea ceremony up in the top left corner. Right, our tea ceremony. Of course, in Asia, tea is the preferred beverage. So that's why we have our tea ceremony. So this is our welcome tea ceremony. Up there, the map. Who's moving the map? Okay, so up there near the map, if I can first invite you to grab one of the blue little avatar bubbles on the left that says your name, and simply type in your name. And then where are you now? Where are you joining us from on that map? If you can place yourself on that Asia map with your name would be great. Give everybody a moment to do that. Do you see the bubbles? You just grab one. It's a little bit chaotic with everybody moving, but that's okay. Give you a moment to find it. We put an Asia map there, Chris. We didn't put global map. You could put Bali 2019. Or just put at the top as a global citizen. See lots of buzzing around.
Tim, can you zoom it out a little bit so that we can see it clearer?
Oh, sorry, you'll see.
Yes, it's better now. Thank you.
One thing that we didn't mention in the agenda, so there's two parts to today, right? Part one is here in the plenary where we check out. And after that, we're going to invite you to join one of the local sessions.
Yeah.
Thailand, Vietnam, Korea, or Singapore and Malaysia. And also India has a group gathering at the last minute. So each of us will share with you where to go later to join one of those local rooms after this session finishes. Great, is everybody able to place themselves on the map? We just want to have a look at the diversity and the, where we're all coming from. Nice. And if you've already placed yourself on the mat, hey, who's moving the mat? Don't move the mat. That messes up everyone's position. Are we able to lock the mat, Jin?
I'm trying.
Trying, I guess. And if you've placed yourself on the mat.
Okay, I lock it.
Great, thank you. And then on the right, hey, what happened to our title on the right is what brought you here? It's been moved. What brought you here? The purple one, right? There we go. What brought you here? So, like, what's your intention for today? For what brought me here is I love creating community, and I love to see what's new in this practice and what we create moving forward. So community and growth, I would say, is what brought me here. But you can answer that any way you like. What brought you here? And grab a Post-it, and if you can type your name and then a short response. And throughout the day, you can look at this and afterwards as well, and see who you want to connect with, who's in your area or who's doing something interesting. There's other spaces on the board there. What are you most passionate about in this work, right? Or related to this work. For me, what I'm passionate about is about growing the field and also about applications to wellness, personal wellness and community wellness, because that just feels like a theme that's becoming more prominent. Resilience and wellness. Your superpowers. Okay, there's two questions to the right. So we got everyone on the mat, going around the mat. Nice, I see some energy in Japan, Korea, Vietnam. The map's moving again.
Oh.
Uh-oh. That's great. Okay. Very nice. So as you look at that, just to acknowledge the diversity, where we're all coming from. And this is cool. When I first joined my first IFVP conference in 2011, there was one lady from Japan and myself. So that was the Asia group. It was much smaller at that point. So it has been growing a lot, right? Exponentially growing through the region. Very good. So what are some of the answers we got? What brought you here? Looking for visual power, to know colleagues in the region, learning new practices. I want to learn more about visual thinking, meet new friends, learn about IFVP, share tips, connect with people. The map's moving again. Curiosity, get insight. I want to get power of VP, visual practice. Very nice. Learn new practices. Great. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing and we're going to come back to our Zoom. So as you look at this, what is an impression that stands out for you? Can I hear someone? What stands out for you as you look at that map, that diversity?
Yeah. How do you feel? You can just type your answer in the chat box. How are you feeling after looking at that Asia map? We are waiting to your answers.
What stands out for you? What do you feel from looking at that?
Who's first?
I'd like to share one thing. I can call on someone.
Yeah, amazing, they say. Dynamic and energetic.
Dynamic energy.
Yeah.
Nice. Great, I still see the map here on my screen. It's buzzing around. Very nice. Okay. Very good. Okay, shall we welcome our speaker, Chun-Li?
Yes, it's your time with Chris.
Okay, so let me just share. Okay, here's one quick screen that Chris shared with us as a way to share what he's going to do a little bit. I met Chris Fuller in 2019 in Bali at a facilitation unconference called The Happening, and very quickly connected with him and his stories about the work. And what really stood out is the diversity of experiences and how, I know that when I'm working with a group in a room, even just passively listening and capturing, that I'm learning about, what they're doing, what's their challenges, how they resolve that. And the visuals help to support that. So we're getting lots of knowledge just by being in those rooms. And as I heard Chris and sharing his stories from over 25 years of practice, I thought, what a wealth of wisdom and knowledge that this guy brings just from having been there, done that, and having listened and scribed and supported so many diverse organizations and facilitation groups and individuals and so on in this work. So he's got some great models and tools and stories to share around this practice, the roles, responsibilities, the insights, the tips for personal and business resilience. So, Chris, can we give a big hand to Christopher Fuller?
Yay!
USA, a pioneer visual practitioner to inspire you.
Thank you.
Yay! I'm so excited.
Thank you, everybody.
As Tim, thank you for the introduction. Like I said, for you guys, it's morning, but for me, it is very late. So I'm going to add a little whiskey just to wake myself up.
Nice.
Because I don't want to get drowsy. So, first off, just before I get started, just real quick, I just want to thank the IFVP Asia community for inviting me. I'm thrilled to be here. And, in 1999 was the first time I went to Asia. I did the first ASC scribing work over there in Singapore for a big event. And if you would have told me that, here I am now 20 something years later, 22 years later, speaking to a community of graphic facilitators, graphic recorders in Asia, I probably wouldn't have been able to foresee it. So it's really exciting. So with that, I'm going to get right into my presentation. My screen can be pinned and you guys should be able to see it. So the what, the why, and the how. I call this scribing fundamentals, principles, and methods from me, Christopher Fuller, and my company, Grill's Eye. Things that I've learned over my, well, it's been a long time. So I'm here, I'm speaking to you. Why should you listen to me? Who am I? What do I know? Well, like you guys, I'm a visual practitioner, and I started out as a visual arts graduate, got my degree from a university in the States called Rutgers University in New Jersey, pretty well known. And my dream was to be either a comic book artist or an animator. If you saw my remote keynote last year, you know that did not work out the way I had planned. But thankfully, as fate would have it, in 1992, I volunteered to do something called scribing that I had never heard of before for a little company called MG Taylor. And the reason why I decided to volunteer was just because when it was described to me what this job was, listening, drawing, capturing people's thoughts, it just sounded so darn interesting. I had to at least check it out. So next year marks my 30th anniversary as a professional scribe, because that volunteer job with MG Taylor led to them hiring me and me becoming a part of their core staff. So one thing that I'd like to say that what MG Taylor did to this craft is that they took a process which up until the 90s had been what I describe as a very democratized process. And that means that the people who started it, of course, David Sibbett, you are probably familiar with his name because he is the godfather of graphic facilitation. Am I going? Okay. Okay. So it was very, because the graphic responsibilities and the facilitator responsibilities were combined, that made it very necessary that the graphics had to be really quick and easy to make so that you could concentrate on the lead facilitation. But MG Taylor, they split the role between lead facilitator and the graphic responsibilities. And the knowledge workers would do the graphic job, and they called them scribes. So because you didn't have to be the lead facilitator and you could just concentrate on the visuals, you could be a little bit more adventurous than a normal graphic facilitator would. So we, in that method, got what I like to call as business famous, meaning that the big consulting companies started to discover what we were doing because our events would end in standing ovations more often than you would just be shocked how many business meetings would just end with people clapping and this kind of thing. So Ernst & Young, a big global firm worth about $6 billion at the time in 1995, they found out about what we were doing and they decided to license what the Taylors, Matt and Gail Taylor, were doing and globalize the process. They did that by creating what is called the ASE, Accelerated Solutions Environment. Now, at the time when I was young, because I was a person who they saw scribing, I knew that there was a small community of others out there that were doing this. You know, like I was very familiar with the Grove at that time, but MG Taylor, our process was something that I thought was unique to us, but I realized with the power of a big consulting company, they were able to take it and make it something that could be repeatable. And so Lee Sage, who was the senior partner at EY, on the day that we decided to partner up, he said to Matt and Gail, hey guys, we're going to take your environment, this unique environment that you do. We are going to train a bunch of our people to be facilitators. And then his nickname for me was Mr. Picasso. And he looked over at me with his champagne glass and he said, and we're going to make a bunch of Mr. Picassos all over the world. And I turned to my colleague at the time, Kelvy Bird, and I was just like, I don't know if this is going to work, which goes to show that I did not know really how big business works and what they can do to scale up. So, MG Taylor itself as a business entity might not be around, but they left a visual legacy. And that visual legacy, this is just something I described very quickly today. And it shows you that from the moment we partnered with the ASC, that opened the door to create a lot of other great scribes, got their first opportunities. I remember Brandy Agerbach, who is just a legend now and one of the greatest entrepreneurs in our craft. She came through the ASC. Peter Duran of Alpha Chimp, who is one of the most creative and talented people. He was also one of those first scribes to come into their network. Later, Andrew Park, who, if you've ever seen an RS Animate video, you know, the videos where you see a scribe's arm as they explain a process with the voiceover. Well, that was created by Andrew, and he got his start through the ASC. Also, Brian Kaufman, who was my mentor, he, after leaving MG Taylor, he went off on his own to become a facilitator. And that led to him making more scribes with PwC, of course, which is another big consulting firm. And probably the biggest impact is when he was consulting with Bell Canada, he introduced Lisa Sorsa and Disa Kalk of later to become ThinkLink Graphics. And that's how they got their start. So that was also through another MG Taylor alumni. And to me, I mean, Lisa and Disa, they are just masters of this craft. I jokingly call them the queens of the North because they're up there in Canada. And then, of course, my good friend and colleague, Kelby Bird, who has had such a huge global impact on the community, especially in Asia with her generative scribing method. If you guys aren't familiar with Kelby, you should be. I highly recommend her book, Generative Scribing. And it is just amazing to see the new ways in which she is taking the craft. So now graphic recording, it's really gaining in popularity, of course. Why? Well, I say thousands of people all over the world have been through a workshop using MG Taylor-like processes now, or through the ASC, or through one of its competitors. And also, those people then went off to tell other people. You know, it multiplied and multiplied all over the world. And the biggest thing that sort of was happening concurrently with that is that now there's this growing recognition of the importance of storytelling. And storytelling is the real output of what we do. We're not just graphic recorders, we're real-time visual storytellers. So you might recognize this guy, or maybe not. My drawing, it wasn't the best, but it's a quote from Steve Jobs, "The power of storytelling." Here's the quote: "The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation that is to come." So guys, we have an awesome responsibility. Businesses, they recognize the power of storytelling. And if you look at the business bestseller list in the States, it is just littered with books on storytelling for business and for organizations now. So I would like to say that on this little bit of information, I, for once in my life, was ahead of the game. Because like I said, in 1995, when I didn't realize how Ernst & Young could globalize the MG Taylor process, years later though, I knew in 98, when I left MG Taylor, that storytelling was just something that was going to really flower. And so I started my company, Griot's Eye, with the original mission, which it still has today, which is to use the power of visualization to help organizations tell their stories. So why did I choose that name, Griot's Eye, and what does it mean? Well, a griot is taken from West African tradition, and a griot is the tribe's storyteller. More than just a storyteller, they're the poet, the musician, the historian, the praise singer, and the storyteller. And what that means is that they keep the culture alive through an oral tradition of storytelling. And I really love that. And I decided that's what I should name my company, except instead of, the oral tradition of storytelling, I am a visual storyteller, hence the name Grill's Eye. So, as I said, graphic recording, when done well, it's just a visual storytelling tool. That's why it's becoming so integral to meetings and creative problem solving. This shot that you see here, I just did a couple days ago, and it was for a big nonprofit here in California. And at the end of the session, after I had captured it, they would bring me on to tell the story of my capture about the big key themes that I heard. So I like to think of it this way. Storytelling in business is generally thought of as a soft skill trait, but storytelling is hardwired into our humanity. And if you see in the background, I've used a cave painting because that just shows that storytelling, it's part of our DNA, guys. We're built to create and receive stories. It's how we learn. And when you take the mixture of the images and the words, there's no more powerful storytelling tool. And that is why scribing, graphic facilitation, is going to have an even greater impact in the future, because businesses are recognizing the importance of storytelling, which is what we do. So I've told you guys about this fact that we're storytellers, but how do you go about doing it? Well, in my 30 years now of scribing, I've formulated some principles that help guide me. Think of these as just like a framework for your mindset to make sure that you are always focused on what it is that you're there to do. So the first thing that a scribe does, I call it the what, is that it's this mindset that starts with what? It starts with listening. And it's not just listening and hearing things. It's a very specific kind of listening. It's listening without bias. It's being open. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times when we are capturing in a meeting, there can be people from all over the organization, the C-suite executives right down to the frontline field workers. I say that it's our duty to listen to all of those people equally, no matter what their title is. Because trust me, in my 30 years of doing this, you don't know where the good ideas are going to come from. And there is a tendency sometimes to think you have to pay more attention to the person who, with a big title and this kind of thing. But it's not that you pay more attention to them, is that you use your judgment to pay attention to people equally, because like I said, we don't know where the good ideas are going to come from. So we put aside our personal bias, and that is the first listening mindset. Now, you've done that listening, you're taking in all that data, and you've got to turn that data into some kind of organized information as you scribe. That's the next mindset principle, which I call, that's the synthesis. And what does that really mean? Well, as real-time scribes, that is our creative exploration, which is basically at its most simplest is that we're just looking for where the ideas converge and where they diverge. That is the processing that we do. So as you listen, you start making connections. This is the fun part. For me, this is the fun part of the job. You start realizing, oh, this comment that reflects back to something that was said earlier. I'm going to maybe make a connector or use a color to show some kind of synthesis or a call out, or now they're talking about something that is completely different. This needs some sort of icon to draw attention to it in that way. That's the creative exploration. That's the fun part of the job. The last mindset principle is sharing, being of service. What do I mean by that? Well, as a speaking in the graphic recording realm, I say that our job is to be of service to the client. And what that means is that don't think of yourself as an outsider when you go to do a job with an organization to scribe. Think of yourself as being part of the group, but you just so happen to have developed this unique graphic skill ability that you can put to use to serve the group. So that will help you when you are creating your stories and you think of yourself as a member of the team that you're on, because you start thinking, okay, if I was a member of this company, of this group, you know, what would I want captured and how would I want it to be captured? It's a great way to just stay respectful to the conversation. That's the 3 mindset principles, and that's the what I believe, in my opinion, a scribe does. So, you know the what. The next is the why. And the why for me, there are 4 key roles and responsibilities of scribing. It's why we do our job. The first is to be a reporter. What do I mean by that? Well, as I said in the listening mindset, when you are reporting, in our job, we listen for the facts. And then through that creative exploration that we do, we put a visual narrative around the facts. And that is being a graphic recorder, or as I like to think of myself, a graphic reporter. The next key role and responsibility is to be a mutual educator / co-educator. What do I mean by being a mutual educator? Because, you know, usually, you know, you would think I should be saying, you know, an educator, but think about it. An educator teaches people things that they don't know, but we're not like that, because first of all, we don't necessarily know the topics that we are capturing besides, you know, maybe some prep that we have done. We read the objectives and the goals that they're looking for. We know what's in scope, what's out of scope, but we are not experts on, say, blockchain or a merger and acquisition strategy, or I don't know, some project or initiative that a company is working on. But if we do that reporting job, if we listen, we can take their own ideas, their own brilliance, and show it to them by using the convergence and the divergence. And we can teach them something about something that they didn't know, but they did know. And our job is to see what people are saying. So even though we might not, you know, be experts on the thing, by the end of it, we can teach the client something using their own knowledge, and we can learn something ourselves. The next role and responsibility is very important, and especially was sort of the cornerstone of my M.G. Taylor education, and that is being a visual modeler. What do I mean by being a visual modeler? Well, that means taking and creating graphic models from the discussions and the topics that you hear, which oftentimes can be a little complex, you know, because people might be walking through a process or some kind of phased approach. And if we can turn it into a visual model, we can take something complex and make it simpler, easier to understand. For instance, I'm telling you guys about these models that I have created over my career, this four key roles and responsibility model. And I'm using, you know, a lot of words to describe to you what that is. Some of you guys might be saying, you're using actually too many words, just get on with it. Well, this model that you see here on the screen, when I'm done talking, you'll have an easier chance remembering what I said because you'll have this visual model to make the connection back to the details. So that is what I mean by being a visual modeler. Now, the next role is one where I've probably lived in the most in my career, and that is being an inspirer. What do I mean by being an inspirer? Well, this is, for me, this is the really fun part, because when you are listening to a conversation, people, because like I said, we are natural storytellers, we have storytelling built into our DNA. And so when people want to be, when they want to explain a topic, when they want to make sure that an idea hits home, they speak in metaphor. They use parables. They use comparisons and allegories. And when they use these metaphors, that is a perfect opportunity for us to visualize their ideas. And this can really inspire a group. For instance, you guys, if you have ever been in a business meeting, you probably realize how many times they might describe the project that they're working on is like being on some kind of journey. And of course, that is an opportunity for us to take and turn that into, you know, maybe a mountain or a series of mountains or a road or an ocean, a vessel, or perhaps, you know, especially when it's a lot of males in the room, they love to use sports metaphors. So we can pick up on that when they're talking about like achieving their goals. You know, maybe we're drawing, you know, soccer or football or something like that. A lot of times, these inspirational things that we do, these drawings that we do in the moment, can have a bigger life beyond the conversation in which they first occurred in. What I'm showing you right now, this is an inspirational metaphor that I created in real time for an automotive company. Now, in this particular company, the issue was that their marketing and their engineering side they were too siloed and they weren't integrated. They felt as if the marketing and branding and the guys who built the cars weren't speaking the same language. And so this was a major issue. During this very intense conversation, this topic came up again, and one of the participants said that the problem was that the marketing and the science and the engineering guys, they needed to be in a dance together. So I heard that since some lights went off, and I started thinking, okay, a dance, what kind of dance? Well, it's got to be, of course, a partner dance. And so I started thinking about, you know, ballroom dancing, you know, old black and white movies, where people were, just very elegant, and the lead would go back and forth between the two people dancing. And so I sketched that up and started, capturing the other comments around it that reinforced it. And when I did that, there was some electricity almost going on in the room, and that I could sense that the participants were picking up on what I had seen, because in this graphic recording way that I was doing it on this big dry erase wall in front of, it was about 80 participants. And I was drawing big so everybody could see it. And because of that, it started to inspire them. They started to get more creative. They said that later, they said, innovation, that's got to be the underlying platform to what they do. So if you look at the drawing, you'll see on that left-hand side of it, that the two dancers put a platform that's innovation. Later on in the conversation, they said that they had to take more risk, because as an automotive company, you always have to be thinking about the future. And so when they said that about taking more risk, one of the participants made a comment that innovation happens at the edge. And so I drew the two dancers dipping right over the edge. It was, by the time the conversation was done, guys, the room was just they had come into that conversation feeling a little down. They left that conversation to go into the breakouts just really charged up from there on out. It was a great meeting. I got so much feedback from the participants and from the sponsor, who personally congratulated me for creating this metaphor. But I said, well, my job was easy. You guys came up with the idea. I just visualized it. That is what it means to inspire a group. So I've told you about these, the mindset, and I've told you about the reasons why we do what we do. And now it's the how. So I have 6 storytelling fundamentals of scribing. They are, first and foremost, simply annotation. Annotation, it's just words, text. Then, of course, actors. What are actors? Actors are all the drawings, the icons, the symbols that you use, the visuals, to help tell the story. Sometimes it's cartooning and elaborate, but that's not really what scribing is all about. The reason why the dance I just showed you look like that is because my background was, like I said, I wanted to be an animator and illustrator, but you can be a powerful scribe without being a quote unquote drawer. I just want to make sure that gets through to you, because Brian Kaufman, that person that I showed you, that was my mentor to MG Taylor, Brian was an engineer by trade and could not draw Spider-Man to save his life. But he, to me, was the greatest scribe that ever lived. So yes, actors, the little icons, the tools, the drawings to help tell your story. Then there are frames. What do I mean by frames? Well, if we're just writing everything down, but not somehow giving our drawings cohesion, and in this case, with framing devices, then it just becomes, it's too much to take in. So Kelby likes to call this chunking. You chunk the ideas to make it digestible. Without framing, then you're basically just making graffiti. The next fundamental is relationships, and that's a little connected to framing in that it shows how ideas connect to each other. And this can be through arrows, this can be through color, this can be through dashed lines. It's just anything to help show that convergence or divergence. The next fundamental is titles and subheaders. Because remember, guys, we are storytellers, we're visual storytellers. And when you're telling a story, it helps if you give your story a title, and it helps if you give the chapters, the chunking, the frames, the relationships, a subheader. So I like to be really intentional when I do that because it makes it just that much easier for people to understand the scribing. The final storytelling fundamental is placement and flow. This isn't always visibly seen. It's always that you're physically drawing. Sometimes it is, like I said, it's just where you place your ideas next to each other. Another way of building on a relationship. This is my three models, the what, the why, and the how, all working together, integrated. I'm going to show you an example of an analog scribe that I did, old school paperboard and markers. So this was done on a piece of foam core. It's 40 by, I think 60 inches. I don't know what that is in metric because I'm an American and we have a poor education system. But I did this live. Now, take a look at it. Do you recognize any of the things that I talked about? Because when you look at it now, when you break it down, you'll see it's just the frames to make the visual model that is happening in the middle. The annotation, which is all the text, all the titles, the subheaders that you see going on. Whoops. And placement and flow. And of course, the actors, which are just the little cartoons. So that was an analog scribe. But because of the times that we're in, I'm going to show you guys. Ooh, I went a little too far, got ahead of myself. This was a digital scribe capturing a conversation by Fareed Zakaria, excuse me. It was done with the iPad, and you'll notice, once again, there are frames, placement and flow, titles and subheaders, actors, all of that working together. Why did I do that? Because he was talking a long time and about a lot of big, important topics, pandemic themes. So I used green to put that in a frame, geopolitical issues, the global economy, social and cultural issues. If that 6 fundamentals is too detailed, I have created kind of a 101 how model which I call the simplified starter model, and it's the facts. And the facts are just frames, actors, connectors, text equals the visual story. So I just did this 2 days ago for a remote conference with a client. That was the one that I showed you earlier, where at the end I had to then go on and talk to the participants about what I had heard. Using the facts, the simple, you'll see. Once again, the ingredients are really pretty simple. And that's what I love about this, is that you can take these basic ingredients and you can create your own personalized way of doing this role. So what you see here, speaking of your own personal way, this was done from my IFVP remote keynote last year by a scribe named Sabina Soda. I hope I pronounced her name right. But I absolutely loved it, you know, because one, it's a mixed media piece, right? She's using photos. She pulled some things from my website, but it is still a real-time visual story, and it still adheres to all the basic ingredients. In this case, though, the actor, though, it's a photo, you know, it's not a drawing. But then she's combined that with some drawings, of course. She's used framing to make the ideals digestible that I was talking about. And of course, there are connectors and placement and flow. Love that piece. So the vision for our visual practice, where we might be headed. Well, considering that I was the guy in 1995 who did not think that MG Taylor's process could be duplicated, I'm probably not the best person to answer a question about where we're headed for the future, but I do have some ideas. Number one, the remote work is going to continue to evolve, of course. And I see that in the future being in the VR space, virtual reality, because meetings that will be happening there, augmented reality. And as part of that, I think there's going to be even more mixed media used in graphic recording, more photos, maybe music, maybe other audio used to help tell these stories. Also, graphic recording techniques will continue to be seen in non-traditional ways. So more in the entertainment field, more marketers will bring graphic facilitators on to help ideate. And then of course, more use of scribing to work on big systemic issues, environmental issues, social justice issues, because let's face it, there are some big, wicked problems ahead of us. And therefore, I believe that scribing can be a powerful tool in that arena. And my colleague, Kelby Bird, that is where she is really, has been such a pioneer and such an innovator with her treating scribing as a social art. So the last vision I see is that there's going to be some kind of degrees, certification. There is already sprinkling with this, but it's going to be, more importantly, it's going to have legitimacy behind it. So on that note, let you guys know of some learning opportunities that I will be offering online, my next course, because since I can't travel and teach this kind of stuff anymore, I'm putting together an online course to go over this methodology in more detail. You can register for the Grill's Eye mailing list to stay in the know for when that's offered. Just go to my site, grillseye.com/contact, and you can put in your information there. Everybody, the earlier that you register, of course, you will receive a discount on the course. And I can definitely put something in there for IFVP members. Where do you find me online? Well, Facebook is where the Grill's Eye business page is. I don't use my personal Facebook anymore. I stopped using it. I don't even answer any kind of request. Facebook, though, is a necessary evil because I need it for my business. So I can't just get rid of the page. So you can find me on Facebook at Grill's Eye, Twitter, of course, /Grill's Eye, Instagram, Grill's Eye, and for the occasional YouTube video, Grill's Eye Inc. I hope you guys can be a part of my upcoming online series. And in the meantime, I write quite a bit about scribing and the craft. And so if you go to my page, my Grill's Eye page, and click the Insights tab, you'll find a bunch of just different insights and learnings that I have accumulated over my 30 years of doing this job. That's it. That's my story. And I think we might have a little bit of time, I think maybe for some questions, maybe. Tim?
Wow, thank you, Chris. That's so brilliant to just hear the breadth of your experience, the insights, the clarity that you get around this practice, and the roles, the responsibilities, the how, the what, the why, and how you articulate that so clearly. It gives hope, and it gives purpose, and it gives vision to what we're doing here, you know, in our own small ways, in small rooms or big rooms, sitting and listening and drawing. But there's such a big opportunity and purpose. Can we come off mute and give a big cheer for Chris for a moment? Just to acknowledge that. Woo!
Thank you. I'm humbled. I'm humbled.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Some people say
so. We have some time. So no one's gonna chase you on Facebook, Chris. But I do encourage you. He does have some great stuff on his website that he writes regularly, as he mentioned. And those of you that are interested to go deeper into this stuff, if you're inspired and curious, which I know I am, and I think we all are, go and check out his stuff. And he has some online courses. I had a chance to learn with him a little bit in his session in Bali at the Happening. And he's articulating these roles, but going a little bit deeper into it. It's a workshop, so you're drawing stuff and modeling some of the tools that he's sharing. But we have some questions, and sure. We have a bit of time for some questions. So,
Tim, can I share screen
yes.
while you facilitating the Q&A session? Like,
yes,
our graphic recorder already made some recording.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I love it.
Let's have a look at the work in progress. Very nice.
Oh, this is fabulous. I love it.
Yeah. And
another one for your collection, Chris.
We have
whose
some
name, because I'd like to get some of these.
We'll send it all to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
We send it to you. Yeah.
Nice.
Got it. It's got the, I see the titles and the subheaders.
It's not done.
You're calling out the topics. It's great.
Yeah. It's not done.
That's awesome. I love it. The key roles.
Yes.
And Tim, I already copy paste some questions from the audience here for you.
Fantastic. Okay, can we see the questions?
Yes.
So, okay, so what is the best thing about being a visual storyteller to you, Chris?
What is the best thing about being? Well, it has to have some kind of allure, because I've been doing it so long that I should probably be ashamed of myself if I didn't like it. The best thing about it for me is the fact that I am constantly being educated on new topics. You know, I've now worked, I've worked on 5 continents. Like I said, some countries that I don't even remember. I was like, oh, wow, I was there. My passport book says I was there. And I have been able to just learn so much because of the different industries, the people that I've met. And so if you're someone that values learning, that values experiences, there's to me, no better job in the world.
Nice. I love that. Yeah, we're constantly learning. And, you know, in the other part, when we teach this work, which many of us will do, we teach sketchnoting because that's the challenge, is that you need to integrate existing information with the new ideas. And that's the challenging part of synthesis. That is hard, is translating that. But in doing that, we make the learning stick. So we're doing that live in the room, and you're learning so much. That's awesome. Yes. Another question is, what should...
I'll take another question before.
Yeah. Oh, here's a question. What should we prepare before a real-time visual facilitation?
The way I like to
basic
prepare,
question, but yeah.
is first off, I want to know as much as I can. So I will ask the client, I need to know the objectives. I need to know what is in scope for you guys and what is out of scope, because sometimes some things might come up that are out of the scope of the conversation. And so it's good to know that beforehand. If I am working with a technical company, working on a very specific project, then I'll ask them maybe if they can just give me a list of acronyms that might come up. And then if I'm capturing speakers and presentations, I like to read their bios. I like to know what they are about. To me, that's the real thing that you do to prep. The other stuff, of course, you've got to pick your color palette, because you don't want to have too many colors, and you've got to do some other technical things. But it's the reading, to me, that is the biggest thing.
Nice. Yes, I like asking questions. I mean, that's part of the preparation, but it's also, in a way, you're doing consulting, is by understanding what's their objective and what they want to do with that group and with that opportunity. And the scribing helps that. And for me, the ability to be able to articulate what we do back to the client, then we're becoming, as you said, an educator, a co-educator. We're creating more value for them than just the picture. So for those of you in some of the Asian markets, I know Jillian in Conversations talks about this in Korea. There's a bit of a perception about visual facilitation that it's just illustration based. You're just making pictures, and that sort of devalues the work that you're doing, because it's not about the picture, it's about the thinking and what that goes into to help move the group forward. So I guess what I would suggest or try to help everybody to think about is how can you articulate the work that you're doing better, the value that you bring. It's not just a drawing, it's the thinking and the synthesis.
It's an information piece.
And Chris,
yes,
it's awesome. And you articulated that so well. Yeah, information piece, the modeling, the thought partner, the co-educator. Great, we have so many questions, my goodness. How do we take them all? Chun, do you see any that's standing out as you're harvesting them?
I suggest that we will recap all the questions and we will send it to Chris later on.
I can pick out a couple. How about this? Just real quick, like I see.
Is there anything that stands out to you, Chris?
Well, I see one because it's a technical one, and so it's the simplest one to answer. How do you, inside the screen, how am I doing this kind of thing? I use a program called Ecamm.
Ecamm, yeah.
It's a Mac. Unfortunately, it's a Mac only. It's not a PC program now. It might be in the future, but that is what I use to do this kind of on-the-fly video editing. There is a PC competitor called Minicam that people use. I know Kelvy, I know she uses Minicam. So there is, if you're looking to do this and you don't have a Mac, just know that there are things that you can find on the PC side.
Yeah.
The real context. Have you ever experienced or know about other experiences working as a scribe communities that cannot read or using other fundamentals other than annotation? It's funny that you say that. Part of the reason, yes, I took the name Griot's Eye because it was a West African word, and I was kind of familiar with it. I knew it had something to do with storytelling, but also, if I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with a man by the name of Rob Evans. Rob Evans was the head of the Ernst & Young ASC, and Rob, just a real genius on so many topics, but Rob had this friend of his that he would bring to our early design shops, a guy by the name of Brother Blue. Blue, unfortunately, has since passed, but Blue was a griot. He was an actual living griot, and he would go to organizations listen in to what they were talking about and create these almost lyrical stories rather quickly. Sometimes with just like somebody playing a conga drum, which was usually Rob. And I remember he came to an early design shop. This was when I was still working at MG Taylor, and hearing him basically do facilitation, but in the form of simply just storytelling, I was just like, oh, wow, griot, yeah. And it's stuck in my head, right? Even though I did know of a grill before seeing Blue, but Blue was a reminder. And so when I went off to create my own company, yeah, it was an easy choice.
Nice. That's awesome. There's so many great insights and questions here. Does anyone have a burning question that they want to come off the mic and ask to Chris? Because we see a lot. This is great, actually, all these questions. Thank you, everyone, for the questions.
I remember the IFVP started, guys. That's how long I've been doing this.
I was born yet.
My colleague, I should say I've been doing this 30 years, but I started, I was 5 years old. Matt Taylor found me in a sandbox, actually. I was just drawing the finger painting. I used to finger paint. That's how I did it, just as a child.
Nice, I bet. So there's some inspiration.
Hey, it keeps you young, guys. If you continue on this, look at me. It's the elixir of youth.
Here's a question from Ho Kim in Seoul. As a non-visual facilitator, when we engage graphic recorders or facilitators for virtual or offline sessions, what are the best ways to work with them to create maximum value of them and the workshop participants? So this is about how you partner and collaborate.
Yeah, how you collaborate.
Facilitator with a facilitator.
It's always great, first off to, you try to form some kind of relationship with them and let them know that as I'm going to be managing this conversation to help you do your job better, I'm going to do some synthesis and my speaking. So the lead facilitator should let the graphic recorder know that they're going to give them some cues, nice. Things to perk up and keep your ear at, because sometimes, you're hearing all these different comments coming in. And if you are a complete outsider, you might have a tougher time, especially when you're just starting out, how to suss out, what is valuable. Working with a great lead facilitator, if you have a great rapport with them, that's an easy, make your job that much simpler to do.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, so that's about being, as a facilitator, it's about having confidence in your role and clarity, articulating what you're going to be doing. Again, how do you articulate to create the value in the relationship, and ask for what you need, right? I often ask the create rapport. I often ask them, I just try to find space, and facilitators are busy, but I say, is there a story that you're going to tell? Exactly. Is there a metaphor that you're going to be, using to help people understand this? Because a good presenter will have these things in there, and they might not really be thinking about it because it's just part of what's natural. But I ask that to sort of get to know it, and then that could become that framing element, storyteller, or key image that builds the whole thing, like the dance, like you mentioned the story about the dance. Be like a dancer and be at the edge. So those are little tips to give an insight into doing that. Oh, Chris, there's so many cool inspirations. Here's just a few things. Be an inspirer. Innovation happens at the edge. Yeah. Visual metaphors. We can teach them something that they didn't know yet. I love that. Right.
Yes. But what it really is that we show them they knew it, but they didn't realize they knew it, is what I meant to say. You know what I'm saying? So just when we start making the connections, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, yeah.
And here's a little gift for you. I'm sure our graphic did a better job with that.
hey. But this is what, like I said, one of the things that I almost regret, or not regret, but when Ernst & Young saw me because up and before me, scribes, they weren't illustrators, they didn't have art backgrounds. Most of those guys came from organizational development. Like I said, Brian Kaufman was an engineer. So it's all, very simple. And that is, like I said, that is the most powerful way to do this, especially in graphic facilitation. But when EY saw me, they said, oh, we want a bunch of cartoonists. And that's when, right. If you guys are hearing people say like, oh, it's about making a pretty picture. The pretty picture is just so happens, that's the icing on the cake, but it's not, there are no calories in that. And so, yeah, guys, don't worry about like, if you can't draw fancy, you can still be a tremendous scribe using, even if you can't draw Spider-Man,
Nice. Wow. Thank you, Chris. There's so many cool inspirations. Can I just invite everyone, just type in one key takeaway from Chris into the chat, so we can just capture that quickly. And then we're going to wrap up for this session. What's one key takeaway that you are most inspired by and value? Oh, I love it. Listen without bias. Yes, inspiration. It's not just the visuals. I always say it's not about the drawing, it's about the idea. What's the visual help you to get done? And in that way, it's a gift. Every drawing is a gift, right? Thank you. Thinking not just visual, great inspiration, visual storytelling. This is awesome. Wow, what are we going to do? Thank you so much, Chris. Can we just give a woo?
Thank you, guys.
Did we get enough screenshots of you and with you and of everyone? This is awesome. So I hope, and this is an invitation to everyone here, is whatever you're inspired by, Chris, is to share with him, go to his not Facebook, his other things, and share with him, and go onto our mural board.
Join the mailing list.
Join the mailing list, go into our board and share if there's some drawings or some notes that you take from his session to add that to this learning community. And I'm sure Chris will be happy to see that when we share those resources
Instagram too.
Back to him.
I look at Instagram a lot. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And so, be a storyteller, add whatever drawings you're doing, add it to your social, sharing.
It.
Yeah. Personalize it. And that helps to build this community and build the value of what you do. And especially if you're an aspiring, scribe, visual practitioner. This is great. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much, Chris. Okay. So we're a little bit behind time because he has such a great presentation and we had such great questions and we gave that time. So I think what we're going to do is, Chun-Li, we're just going to take a short break first. Is that right?
Yes.
And then okay.
So we are going to have 5-minute break. And then after that, we will come back with Ayat Go.
With Ayat Go, talking about the 6x6 matrix and Dendrome visual storytelling matrix.
Yeah,
it's a little late for me, but because I'm such a fan of Dan Rome and that philosophy, I'm going to stay on, even though I might doze off, but I'm going to stay on just to see your presentation.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Tim, do you want all of us to take a screenshot together before Chris turn off his camera?
Yeah, why not? Let's take a screenshot.
Okay.
So everybody, I'd like to invite you to take a screenshot together before you leave for the 5-minute break. Okay, so choose your best pose, and I will take the screenshot.
I'm going to call it Mr. Picasso, just to tease Chris a little bit.
Yeah, you can bring your cup in front of the camera like that. Okay?
Yeah, you got a cup.
Yeah.
Later we can teach you how to draw a coffee cup.
Hey, you ready? Okay.
Cheers.
3, 2, 1. Yay! Thank you, everyone. So we have 5-minute break. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Please stand up, have a stretch. Take away from your computer, step away from it. Have some tea. Please bring back a beverage so we can cheers together.
Noel, if you have some like music or stuff, you can share.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, good. Thank you.
No, maybe not that music.
Why? What kind of music that you want?
better share your screen sound, not your
Hi.
speaker sound. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay. Okay.
hope you have a very relaxing time watching the clock and listening to the music. Thank you, Noel. Ayat already asked me whether she could download your clock. So please, if you can, share the link to everyone, not just only Ayat.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ayat, for accepting our invitation to this summit. And yeah, your time, you're on stage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ayat.
Yeah, so can I just share my screen?
Can I just say 1 minute of introduction for Ayat? So
Sure.
maybe some of you have heard of the Back of the Napkin, right? Dan Rome is the author of Back of the Napkin, and that's a framework for visual storytelling, visual problem solving. And Ayat is the only, is this right? The only other licensed trainer of Dan Rome's material. She sort of reached out to him.
There are other people here, but
no.
I train other trainers. Yeah.
You're the beginner,
the
catalyst. Okay, great. So I've known her for a number of years and seen her work, and she has a very dynamic and very inspiring style and presentation. So this is very practical, hands-on, I think. So I hope you got some drawing tools and materials ready. Virtual or analog is fine. And let's have fun with Ayat Go. Let's give her a hand, everybody. Woo!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let me see what time is it. Oh, it's good. It's a good afternoon. I thought it was
We've gone a bit over the over.
Yeah. So all the visual thinkers, graphic recorders, and trainers, collaborators here. Thank you so much for the invite. And it's really great to be here. And let me just thought I'd just share a little bit about what we do and what our program anchors on. I've been doing this with Dan Rome for the last 11 years. My background is in banking. I was certainly not from the graphic side at all. So I've been in business banking for almost 15 years. And then I decided one day to call it quits. And then I started a training outfit, ran a couple of businesses, started a .com, ran F&B, the whole range with regard to starting a business. And what we do now, for me, this is a fun thing. And of course, to empower people from confusion to clarity. So we do what we call Visual Power Series Training Program. And the other piece that we've been working with Dan of late is actually strategic visual consulting. And this is kind of work that we have been doing for the last couple of years. Now, just to give you some perspective, I think some of you already know Dan Rome. I know that some of you are fans of his and have books that he has written. So our work has been anchored around the work with Dan Rome. And the tools that we use are basically fundamentally what he actually advocates and what he has been practicing for years. So this, as you can see from here, these are the wide range of books that he written. They are what called bestsellers book as well. Now, the recent book that he's actually, a new book that he's going to launch, I think by this Tuesday, is called A Pop-Up Pitch. So my work with Dan Rome has been really exciting. And I think Tim was actually saying that how I reached out to him, all because I read about him on Business Week. It was featured as the most innovative design book in 2008. It took me 2 years to play and doodle around the book. And then I decided to write to him. And it was really timing, you know, and he was actually running his first inaugural workshop. And he says, okay, come to San Francisco. I said, excuse me, I was just asking. So in the end, I actually flew to San Francisco, and then the rest is history. Now, so what I want to do is a little ambitious. The reason why so is because I wanted to take you back a little bit about the work with regard to what Dan is doing. Fundamentally grounded for us is problem solving. You can use it for storytelling. I use it to look at career planning. I do business consulting with it. So I think where we're coming from is a very useful and fundamental tool, which we call it the 6x6, which is 6 ways the I sees and 6 pictures we draw. And so in other words, what we're going to do is we take a step back now and we're going to think about the fundamental of why all of us are so effective thinkers. All of us are so effective in looking at issues and problems with regard to this. Okay, so this is where I'm coming from with regard to that. So I'm going to start with this first, which is how our vision work. And for all of us who are graphic recorders and visual facilitators, for some of us are trainers and consultants who are actually trying to now get into this space, it is about looking at and understanding this science, that this is a systematic process that you and I can work through to help us engage our audiences. Now, I then thought that it was actually critical. A couple of reasons being is to actually look at the application. There are many tools, but I'm only taking one tool today. This afternoon, Tim asked me to speak a little bit in Malaysia, Singapore session. I'm actually including the second part of the tool later on. So we're going to focus on the 6x6 in action. And I call this the applied visual thinking. The ability to do that in terms of the work that you are in. So the first part of it that I will focus on with regard to this, number one, is actually to look at the space that you and I are in, which is our strength. And so I'm going to start with who am I, or who are all of us basically in this space. So the first one, I'm going to use the 6x6 to do that, looking at what visual thinking is all about. Then I thought, given the current pandemic situation, and we all being entrepreneurs of our own, or some of you are working within organizations which are intrapreneurs within the organization, it is so critical to look at problem solving. It's so important for us to understand how do we navigate through these challenges. So the second part is I'm going to look at our challenges given the COVID situation that we are in, and I'm going to look at my past, which you're going to do at the same time, drawing your past, and then we're going to draw our present. Okay, now, so the situation is such that we had to navigate through this crazy, ambiguous, uncertain world that we're living in. And in the context of it, there was a way we could actually look at how we can do that. And I'm going to share with you my story, okay? And then I'm going to close it with the third one. It's got to do with, again, our challenge. And specifically, I want you to think about your future in the business that you're in. How you are going to navigate future, what kind of things you need to think about preparing. And everything I'm going to do is to use the 6x6 tool. So let's start with the first one, and that is actually looking at what we call how our vision works. Now, so I'm going to show you 4 pictures, and I'm going to do it very quickly. So you just take a look at the 4 black and white pictures, okay? Picture A, picture B, picture C, picture D. I'm going to pause, and I'm going to go back again. Picture A, picture B, picture C, picture D. Now, it's really interesting to take a look at all these pictures. We just exercise the entire cognitive ability of our brain. What we are doing now is to actually use our eyes to be able to see certain patterns that is involved throughout the 4 pictures. Okay, now, can you please tell me what's the difference between picture A and picture B? Tell me the difference between picture A and picture B. Yes. You can type it on the chat, or you can just turn on your audio and then, yeah.
The animation, the bird is flying, have another bird.
Yeah, the birds landed, the plane flew. What else? What else? If I have to ask a question now, what has passed?
People moving, the cover moving.
People moving. Very good. Now, so what has passed? From picture A to picture B, what has passed?
kid lost the animal.
Yeah, so everything is moving, right? So what has passed?
Time has passed.
Very good. So now we have concluded from picture A and picture B, time has passed. Because you see the movement from A in here, when the plane is here, and then the second picture, as we can see from here, it moved to here. So time has passed. Now, would somebody try and do this? How much time do you think has passed? How much time?
Just a moment.
Seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so seconds have passed. Minutes have passed to some of you. Okay, so seconds or minutes have passed. Now let's take a look at picture C then. What happened? What happened to picture C? Picture B to picture C, what happened?
People is scary.
Yeah,
Scared.
people scared. People are scared. So you can see that the birds that landed flew away, the dog shot out, you see the parents panic, and you see a group of people picnic who are actually also screaming, right? Because there's a huge commotion, okay? Now, picture D. What's the difference between picture C and picture D now?
Everything gone.
Everything gone. So what has passed again?
The time
What
is
has passed
9.
again? Time. Yeah, time has passed again. Now this time, how much time has passed?
I think hours, because I saw
Hours.
Many hours.
Very good.
Yeah, so it's
Very
evening.
good.
Evening.
Yeah. So what is very interesting in these 4 pictures are they're not in colors. There's no animation. It's not 3D, but all of you here can actually tell a story by actually looking at the way our eye sees. So now let me just now share from the process perspective, this is how vision works. Okay, now, so as you can see, the reason why you and I can see all the images in the picture is because there is light. And we have what we call here now millions and millions of photons hit our eyes, hits the retina, sends multiple messages to our brain. And the message it sends, it goes to different parts of our brain in a very systematic order. So as you can see from here, the first 3 steps. In the black and white picture, what we did was we saw the who and the what, we saw the how much, and we saw the where. So immediately your eyes react to this. So the first 3 things you see, who is in the scene? And obviously here with the plane, we have the dog, we have the people in the picnic, we have the lady with the dog, and the parents actually pushing the baby pram. So we can see the who and the what in the picture. You can also see with regard to how much is in the picture. So I see 1 dog, 3 lady, a couple and a lady. We saw 4 in a picnic, a bunch of birds. The brain actually counts. Then after that, the brain will tell you where everything is. The plane is in the air. The dog is walking with the owner. The people in the picnic are walking on the track. So you can see where everybody is. So let me now go back to this now. So initially what happens is our eyes capture all these signals and the information that we see the who and the what, we see the how much, and we see the where. Now, as you know, a sequence of events have passed, and that's when we see the when. And you can say seconds have passed, hours have passed. It's because there are a sequence of events that happen. And then after that, we begin to look at picture C of how it all happened and why the commotion happened. So as you can see from picture C, the dog was so excited because the birds landed on the ground and it started rushing to the birds and it caused the entire commotion. And the rationale behind the why, as you can see from this picture, dog love birds, but bird don't love dogs. That's why the whole commotion happened. Now, so in the context of this, if I understand the way the neurobiology of the science of vision, we understand that it's predictable, and the moment we understand that, that's when now we develop the tool, which is called the 6x6 framework. Now, so everybody please take a piece of paper, take your pen, and let's draw together. Okay, now, so everybody draw a bubble. I want you now to draw a straight line and 2 diagonal lines, left bottom to the right top, and from the top left to the right bottom. Okay, so this is what basically the 6x6 is all about. So we're going to write down the words, the who and the what. And the picture you and I are going to draw, when we talk about the who and the what, we are going to draw portrait and we're going to draw objects. So we're going to talk about the people involved as far as we're concerned with the challenge that we're looking at. And then we are going to discuss our idea or a challenge. Okay, so we do the portrait and we do the object. The second one is how much. And when we look at the how much, we always draw a chart to express, when you look at it, the quantifiable definition of our idea of our challenge, okay? So we draw a chart. It can be in any form of a chart. It can be a pie chart, bar chart, but of course now I've drawn here, as you can see, this is a bar chart. The third one is actually the where. Where is actually a map. And in the space that we come from here today, let's take a look at this now. This is my home. And this is where I want to go to, which is the treasure place. Okay, so I have a map of a location that I can get into. But in the space of business today, we are not just talking about a map based on location. We're talking about a 2x2 framework, like a matrix. Just now you can see from the pictures that was drawn earlier, some of the pictures you can see that they were Venn diagrams. So we're going to represent the where everything is in relation to the story or the challenge that we have. Now, the next one has got to do with the when. The when has got to do with the timeline. So when we do timeline, it is about sequence of events that happen, that therefore made it very clear to look at where your challenge is and when it happened, okay? And then in our work, in our space, where we talk about looking at problem solving, we actually do the next one, which is the last two W, to actually look at the how and the why we do it. And as far as how and why we're concerned is, we're looking at the flow chart. We do this, and therefore we do this, and therefore we do this. Okay? And the why is often what we call the visual equation. This plus change is equals to this. Okay, so typically this is where the framework sits. Now, understanding this will now help you and I navigate any challenge, any idea, any story that we want to share. Okay, now, so I'm going to take you through using this framework with 3 parts of it, with 3 6x6 pictures we're going to draw together. One is, who are we? Who am I? 2 is our challenge, which is our past and our present. You are navigating and you need to know exactly how you want to navigate. And number 3, we're going to look at our future. And our future is changing so rapidly that all of us are in fact impacted by the change. I have been going through challenging times. I'm sure none of us are spared by it. Okay, it's been a very roller coaster ride. So let's go to 2 things now. As said earlier, in terms of where I'm coming from, I don't come from a graphic facilitation background. I actually come from a business background. So the work that I do on creativity, innovation, design thinking has all got to do with addressing challenges with regard to the business environment. Now, for you, you are also going through, because you're also running a business, and your challenge is similarly how you would look at your business. Okay, now, and I think this has been established. So our focus now is on this, about the thinking process, because I already made the assumption, or all of us are familiar with this, that all of you do draw fairly comfortably. Yeah. So given that aside, now let's take it through the process of looking at the space of our business and where we want to head our business towards. So I'm going to draw this together with you, and I'm going to start with, what is visual thinking? Who am I? Who are you? Very important. Let's start with that. So everybody, now draw the 6x6 again. So what we need to do is to take one step back and say, this is who we are. Okay, now, so obviously in the space of the visual thinking world that we are all in, and in your case, visual facilitation, graphic recording, training, consulting, it doesn't matter, okay? So we have all the 6 W's here. So I'm gonna walk you through the visual thinking part first, okay? Now, so fundamentally, let's take a look at the first one. Now, in the work that we do, the first thing we all recognize that we all have this innate ability. And what the innate ability does is we have our eyes. What our eyes does is it scans patterns around us. Then the moment those patterns are registered, some patterns diverge and suddenly something happens. Immediately I close my eyes and I let my brain take over. And when the moment I let my brain take over, I will begin to imagine something new for me to help me navigate through this confusion that I'm in now. And the moment I have this idea, I want to share this idea with someone else. And I'm going to use my hands. I'm going to be able to look at the picture that's in my brain, and I am going to draw it and share it with someone else. And that's the start of all ideas and innovation. And what we do, the who we are, is we actually use the Swiss Army knife. Okay, so we're going to draw it here, which is actually looking at our built-in tools. And what we have actually is our eyes, our mind's eye, and our hands, and our eyes. So this is what we all possess. This is who we all are. Now, what is very important now is we need to understand the visual thinking process, which you all are already in the community. So I'm going to draw 4 blades now. And in the visual space, which is visual thinking, this is a process. And what we do is we look, we see, we imagine, and we show. This is typically what happens, okay? So in the space in graphic recording, you are going to actually scan first what is in the room. You're going to scan what is the environment, and then you begin to see the details when people are sharing, and you look at metaphors, which you imagine, and then you are going to draw. This process is what you do every day, okay? Now, so we understand this process now, and what we need to do is to now sharpen it, and it's the only way or form that I can think of is actually exercise, okay? The hardest part in my mind is imagine. Look and see is something that is relatively easy, but when you think about imagining, it is something that has got to be fundamentally rich in your brain. And unfortunately, for many people that I know of, they don't read. And what you are doing now is amazing, because you're going to look at people's pictures, you're going to look at metaphors that have been done, and then you're going to apply it in the work that you do. So our imagination portion of our part, which we are building a whole, what we call visual toolkit that we have, and we store it, okay? Now, a bank that we can store it, and then we show, okay? Now, so in order for us to look in the space that we come from, we actually do data visualization. I need to look at, and I need to visualize information first. I need to visualize the data. So if I'm standing at the roadside now, trying to cross the light, my data capturing, or what I visualize will be cars coming, motorcycles coming, people are walking, people cycling. And the moment the lights turn green, I will then begin to walk. But I am very conscious now because I don't look anymore. I begin to see, and I'm going to see as the details that's around me. And the moment I do that, the details that's around me, I see the car coming at a speed that's so fast that I feel that he's not going to stop on time. So my imagination will be, he's going to knock me down. And my reaction will be, when I demonstrate, I will just probably jump a few steps back, and probably then the car will screech, and then it stops. My whole process, I do it every day, okay? Now, except that now you and I have to be very conscious about it. So how do we do that? We look with data, we need to see everything in bite size. And in the space of challenges that we have, we tend to do this. I've seen the problem before. I've seen this challenge before. I therefore am going to do the same way to solve the challenge. This does not work in today's environment. Today, we are all caught in this pandemic. What works in the past does not work now. And of course, the future, as mentioned by Christopher just now, is about, when you look at the future, the AI, you know, the virtual reality, the whole space of visual, in terms of the kind of work you're going to do, is going to change right now. So I am now going to break it down into bite-sized pieces, and that I'm going to use the 6 W's. The who, what, the how much, the where, the when, the how, and the why. So typically, this is what we are looking at, okay? Now, what is also then very interesting, after I have this idea, I want to share this idea with someone else. I therefore will have another tool called the squid. SQVID. My one idea, I will now draw 10 pictures to simplify that process, because I don't know who I'm presenting it to. So if I'm presenting to a technical guy, I will do a technical picture. If I'm presenting it to my CEO or to my client who is the CEO, I will then draw a vision picture of what my work will entail. So SQUID stands for simple. Q is qualitative. Tim, maybe you can type that out for me. V is vision. I is individual. D D is difference. That is delta. Okay, now, so basically what we have is squid. Squid is simple. If I draw a simple picture, the opposite of it all, I will draw a complex picture or a sophisticated picture or elaborate picture. Then I will do a qualitative picture. Opposite of the qualitative picture, I draw a quantitative picture. Then I have V, I show a vision picture. What I need to now show this vision is I need to do an execution picture. And then I do a individual picture, which is the detail of my picture. Then I will draw a comparison picture, comparing with other competitors. And then I draw what my future will look like, the difference versus the individual. Okay, now, so this is basically what it is all about. Today, of course, I can't do all of it. My focus today is actually doing this. Okay, now, so this is who we are. We have this capability, and now we have this process which we do every day. Now we're going to hone it and make sure we work on it to become very effective communicators at our workplace. Now, the second one is the how much. Now, if you look at the how much in the space of the visual thinking world, actually 1/3 of all the neurons in our brain is actually focused on visual. We focus on visual processing. The other 1/3 of our entire neurons in our brain is actually to process sensory information. And in terms of sensory information, what we have now is we still have vision, we have the smell, we are able to look at taste, with touch, and of course, hearing. Okay, so we have it actually 1/3 of it actually focus on processing sensory information. The other 1/3 is to process others. Okay, so in a space of where we are in, now we begin to see that this is a very interesting space we have. Almost 60% of our entire brain is focused on vision. Vision is the #1 thing the brain does. Okay, now let's take a look at the next one, the where. So what I think the world that we come from, or a lot of our clients that we see and work with are very comfortable with two things. They're very comfortable with writing text. We also find that a lot of people are absolutely comfortable with speech, or as they talk. What you and I today, our space is really interesting. And that space is when we make confusion clearer for people to see. Ambiguity clearer for people to see. Complexity made simple. And this is when we talk about drawing. And this is the where, the sweet spot that we are all in. Okay. Now, the when. And this is really going to be interesting in my mind. It's because when it all happens, this is because we know of a timeline now, right? And suddenly there's this huge confusion. And before we can proceed, the when that we exercise this is when we want clarity matters. And that's what visual does very, very well for us. The other very important thing is when selling matters. And when we talk about selling, we're all the time selling ideas. And that is critical for us. And of course, for another very important way of looking at it is when performance matters. So this is where the space that we are in. Now, For many people who are starting for the first time, but of course, some of you are really veterans, and I salute to all of you. But many people who probably find it very, I think, overwhelmed. And when you see people draw so well in their mind, it is actually the how we are going to start it is actually looking at understanding visual alphabets. And this is what Dan preaches with regard to what we call the 7 visual alphabet. Many people use this as well. In fact, Dave Gray has many, in fact, what we call visual alphabets that we do. So we use that as a tool for us to be able to draw any picture. So the how is about practicing this visual alphabet. And of course, why we are so, I think, involved or so wanting to be participative in this kind of world is because of one very simple thing. We want everyone to see their world clearer. And if everybody can do that, it becomes really easy. Now, so let's start with this now. I take you through one step now. And the whole intent of where we are coming from is the importance of understanding that this is our greatest strength. And this is how we empower the world and how we can actually now make people understand, communicate better, people can understand complex issues better. And when I teach at the university, sometimes my undergraduate students, when they share ideas with me, and sometimes I don't grapple because in all the technology space, I say, can you please draw a picture? And the picture can be a box, a square, a line, it doesn't matter. But that starts the conversation of innovation that comes through that discussion. Now, so this is the first step of who we are. And this is what we call our visual capabilities. And this is our greatest strength in the community and the work that we do in the people who think they are non-visual. Okay, now, so I'm going to take you through now with the second one. Now, I thought this becomes important because in the space that I was grappling with when COVID started, my immediate reaction was it was not going to be something to me now long-term, right? I thought, oh my God, it's going to come and it's going to go, it's crazy. But I think it looks like it's here to stay and we have to learn how to manage it. And because of the way the speed of change has been happening, that people become now almost embracing technology at such a fast speed. The way we work has to change in the space that we are in. Okay, now, so this is for you to do it together with me. It's not for you to draw my picture, it's to draw your own picture because I want you to see clearer and you got to answer those questions yourself. But I'm going to illustrate by sharing an example. So I'm going to draw 2 bubbles now, okay? This is my past. And this is my present. And I'm going to tell you that I'm still struggling with my present and I'm still trying to manage it better. I can only be thankful that some of my clients are willing to bear with me and the mistakes that I made, but certainly we need to be better at this, okay? Now, so before COVID, at the start of it all, my world was this world. My world was, I was standing here, and this is the space that I'm in, where I have people who come to my workshop. And I tell you, I love doing this. And I've been doing this for the last, 25 years in the training arena. And of course, I do a lot of business skills training, right? So this was the space that I was absolutely comfortable with. But unfortunately, with COVID, this has gone right now. So this was who I have been and the what that I do. Now, the how much space that I am in is I do a lot of face-to-face interaction and I have very little online experience. I actually started one session, a couple of sessions rather, but it was mainly I was at home, but my participants were actually at a physical space and they actually interact with each other, but I don't, okay? Now, so this was the space of the how much that I'm in. Now, if you can draw this very clearly, the where you are, this is going to change your space. Now, where I was doing for the 20 over years, what is really, really, really interesting is this. I was good at what I do. And the reason why people like me, and I'm going to use the spider web to do this, okay? Or the radar map. They like my personality. In class, I'm crazy. And then I'm hyperactive and I'm doing all kinds of things, you know, and people love the interaction. So that's my personality. And what people like, what they see in my class is because I love to draw models. Okay. Also, what they like is because I love to tell stories. They also like it is when I put visuals in the work that I do, like the way I'm doing now. I draw it out in simple, simple boxes. And obviously, the other thing they like is the interaction because of the experience, because of the response that I can give them immediately. This was why I was successful. Unfortunately, this does not work anymore. This is the where space, okay? Now, the when. The challenge is really interesting for the when. At the start, I think it was April 2020. So January, February, March, life was a little almost normal for me. I was continually doing training, and the moment April started, and in Singapore, we had the circuit breaker, which is the lockdown, starting in April, May, June, July, everybody just canceled everything that I was doing. So it was 0, 0. So I reached a point that I had to decide whether I want to pivot. And with that here, in terms of this space that I'm in, I could decide to continue or I could decide to say I retire. Okay, so that is the turning point. And in most of us, we have to grapple with it. Okay, so I decided that, hey, why not? You know, I think I have a lot of knowledge that I could still share. So why not continue? So I decided to do that. So obviously, you're always searching for answers. And in the answer that I was trying to look at, and most people, I said, oh, what do you think I should do? How do you think I should pivot? And everybody say this, no? I get reimagine the new norm. What the hell is that? I have no clue what they were talking about. Reimagine the new norm. What do you mean? Because nobody gave us any way to navigate. And of course, everything was very uncertain. Huh? And all these, the why it all happened is because of COVID. And I said that it was really overwhelming. Okay, now, so what I did was I actually drew this picture again and again and again until I find some semblance of what exactly I was going through and then the how I was going to pivot. So this is the space that I'm in at present. And what I have now is a table that is 5 feet and 2.5 feet. This is my life now. Huh? I have a camera here. I have 2 box lights here. I have my computer in front of me, which is my MacBook. I have an iPad that is here. I have 2 monitors here. And I have a microphone. My life now is probably in the back of my screen here. I have a backdrop here. all in all, I was probably sitting on a 5 by 5 foot space. This has become my life. This is the space that I'm in now, okay? And 9 to 5, every day, doing nothing, just doing this. It's really crazy. So this is the space I'm in. So the how much that I'm in now is I have more online sessions, not that I don't welcome it. I still prefer face-to-face interaction. And I also have some face-to-face interaction, but recently, because of the tightened restriction now in Singapore, last week, my clients canceled everything. Okay, now everything is portable to online. Okay, so fine. Thank God they didn't cancel it. If they cancel it, it'll be zero. I'll be having a little time to relax and reflect about my life. Okay, so this is the how much. Now, this is where it changes everything. Huh? And this is where I want all of you to be able to draw your own where. Okay, now, the where that we are in today is we have to practice social distancing. The where that I'm in, my clients ask me, Ayat, are you resilient? I've been doing this for the last 25 years. Nobody ever asked me this question. Are you resilient? So then, after that, we look at the other issue being, as we look at it, my supply chain is changing. Huh? And 24/7 interaction, and I have to be more involved in social media, which I'm not very good at. So this is the space that my client wants. Unfortunately, my space is I prefer face-to-face. I actually find sometimes I'm very resilient, sometimes I'm not, so I'm supposed to be halfway here. When I teach, my supplier doesn't supply things on time because sometimes inventory is a problem. So my supply chain sucks. My 24/7, I think I'm coping fairly well. I work very long hours. My social media presence is not that great. So this is where I am. Which means to say I have a gap, a huge, many gaps that I'm not navigating very well, okay? And then I will now have what we call this part here, which is the when, and I'm thinking for all of us, you cannot do this now. You have to act on it now. So the how has got to be, I'm here, I need to pivot, and the biggest change is I need to learn new skills. Okay? And the why is because many people use this term, okay? That we are living in the world that is highly volatile, highly uncertain, highly complex, highly ambiguous. Okay, now, I know my time is running out, I think. Just give me one, I'll finish this in another 2-3 minutes because I think this becomes important as you navigate your future. Okay, the same 6x6 again, let us draw again, okay? Very quickly, I'm going to now say this, okay? Now, if you look at the who and the what you and I are going through is this. The who is changing, therefore, I have to change the what I offer. Please write this down. Very important. Huh? The who is changing. So if my customers are changing or the demands of my clients are changing, then I've got to change the what I do. Very important. Okay. Now, the how much. You and I now need to think about navigating our future. To maintain and grow our how much, we must know our customer better. It's not no more what I want. Huh? So the how much I need to do is I need to know them more. I need to grow and understand them. The where. This is really important. Huh? When we talk about the gaps, you need to move to where it matters to your customer. So now we need to pivot, right? So this change, this also change, okay? Now, so the thing now is what we need to do, this is where the entire situation is. then we need to think about what the action plan that we are looking at is, because our clients are changing, you and I. The when that we're looking at now is we need to disrupt. And the whole concept of it all is now I got to run very, very fast. Because I now need to think about what new ways I have to innovate. And the key for all of us, this is the space that we are looking at, the innovation space, that we look at profitable implementation of strategic creativity. So when we look at creativity, we are thinking about something new and novel. It must be something useful. It can be implemented, and it must value add our customers' life. And therefore, we must do that. We have to innovate. Now, the how is you and I now has to put what we call a strategic action plan. And often, this plan has got to do with related to our performance. And this is so, so important. Our customers must be able to understand that we are changing to meet their needs. And this action plan must be shared with them of the how we are going to do it. And the why is very important, because our customers is the one that provides our meals. This customer is our business. So with that, I hope you and I are able to look at pivoting to our future. I hope that is helpful. So what I've done is I just taken the 6x6, I just apply it and walk you through a story where you look at where you are, your strength, look at how you have been pivoting. Is it doing well or doing not, or you're not doing well? Then think about, I now need to move very quickly with regard to my future. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, so that was a hurry.
Thank you so much, Ayat, for sharing. I suggest that we will send all the audience questions to you later. And I hope you can have answer. Thank you so much. It was spectacular. Thank you so much, Ayat.
Let's see if we can too, Ayat. Woo!
Yay!
Thank you, thank you.
Can you turn off the screen?
Yes,
Ayat?
I will.
Yes, thank you.
You can share what's one takeaway from her chat in the chat for 1 minute as we transition to Tommy.
Sorry, Tommy, I took your time.
No, that was fantastic. Wow.
That's
so
fine.
much great learning. And I love the invitations that help people to see their world clearer. Visuals help to.
Can I go to can I share this, please? Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
One more slide. Okay. Tim asked me what I could do to look at this. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Right. Yeah. So this is my contact details. So if any one of you interested in spending your training offering, please contact me. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ayat. Vision is predictable. Build your visual strength. Look, see, imagine, show. I love it. The who is changing. We need to change the what we offer and how we do it. Yeah, and innovation is the key. I love how you put that structure together. I mean, it's stuff that we know intuitively, we see and we understand, but the structure helps to really anchor that as a visual practitioner, the opportunities and the responsibility. Cool.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I love, please share what are the takeaways in the chat. We're going to transition in a minute to Tommy to do a wrap up and facilitate a session to help harvest some of the insights, ideas, and opportunities that we're sharing here. Have you guys been having a good day so far? Is this fantastic? I'm kind of blown away by both of the speakers, Chris and Ayat. And also just to remind you that after this is the local sessions in Vietnam, Thailand, Korea, and Singapore, Malaysia, and also in India. So when Tommy's finished, we'll show you the links for that. Where to join, it's a separate link that you would have already had, but we'll also remind you of that. Tommy, are you ready?
Okay, I'm always
ready.
ready.
Hey.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can I say 1 minute of Tommy, how I know him? Sorry, I know Tommy from at least 10 years from the Facilitators Network. And Tommy was one of our co-authors in this book, talking about the World Cafe. And initially this was going to be a World Cafe session, but we simplified it a little bit. So he's a master at what he does. He's been doing this for a long time in Japan. He's done one of the largest world cafes in the world. That's what the story was about. So you're in good hands. So Tommy, over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone, did you enjoy today's gathering?
Yes.
So
awesome.
we have two gorgeous presenters. So I was so impressed with Christopher Fur and Aya Go. So quite insightful. So that's now I am responsible for what we call the tea ceremony time. So tea time to share what you learn. So first, I would like to close your eyes, everyone. So just close your eyes and remember what you learned today. And I time 1 minute. After that, I'm going to tell you what you do. Everyone is okay? Okay, close your eye. Start. Okay, time's up. So please open your eye. So you can only hear the sound of that bamboo fountain. That is a Japanese way to purify the time. And I think that you remember what you learned today. So now everyone to go to the mural board. When in the beginning we access and put your message on it. So in that space, we have creativity time space. And there are post-its, and there are two questions. Thinking about the two questions. What are your challenges as facilitator during after COVID-19? That's one question. The other one is what are your takeaway today? So please give the message and that's a vote. And I'm going to give you, wow, that time is running out. So I give you the 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay, take action. Give us your comments or sharing.
And you guys edit it? Just grab one sticky note and type your answer. Yeah. Are you seeing all the answers, Tommy?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay, I can make it bigger.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. Oh.
And then also on the right side, can you put your key takeaways today after IFVP Asia first meetup 2021? We'd love to receive all your answers. Wow, we can see a lot of challenges during the COVID-19.
Yeah,
Same here.
Yeah, everyone is so busy to writing down the messages. Wow, wow.
Yeah, and the key takeaway is we have so many in the region and we could be stronger together. Yes, that's what we hope. And we could not do that without your support and your collaboration, everyone. We would like to have more IFVP members in Asia after this summit. And Tu will send us the survey and also the slide so that you can have more information about IFVP.
Okay, so that's lots of that comments are given, and I don't think that's time to see every comment to share it because of the time limitation. So everyone knows that URL to access to the mural board. So please see and what other person learning. I think in knowing that they're learning is also very good things, and this is the reason why we gather here together today. So anyway, quite a short that's sessions, but I'm very happy to be conduct this very short tea ceremony sessions. And back to the Chun. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tommy. You did a great job. And then after we check out, I would like to take all of you to a very super quick gallery walk to see what our graphic recordings have been doing during the session. Okay, let's see. I'm very excited about this. It's like, as you can see here, we have a very big picture, and here we have, oh, I need to unlock all of your, no, everyone, could you please stop editing so that I can share with the audience about our harvesting on Chris over here. We will send you the mural board link afterwards so that you can see it. Okay. And also, here is the harvesting from Ayat. Ayat, I hope you like it. Okay, Ayat, can you see this? Our graphic recorder has worked really hard for this. They have to run, chasing after time. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. You can see this mural board afterward. Thank you, everyone. Tim, you wanna say something?
This is fantastic. This is great. So we're running to it's coming close to 2 p.m., but what I'd like to suggest is we can stay on for and share 10 minutes of bonus material if that's if you like, because there's a number of things that we have here and is prepared. And if that's okay. And also we'll stay on to answer any questions for a while. But one thing I do want to do before we wrap up is a couple of things. One, if you took some visual notes during the session, we'd like to invite you to upload those to the mural board. So don't be shy that, you know, those are professional graphic recorders that Chung-Lee just showed that that's part of her team in our network. And they practice and they do this as a profession. And of course, you saw some demonstrations from Chris and great visuals. Don't be shy, whatever quality of work, because it's not about the drawing, it's about the community and it's the idea. So please upload some drawings to share that work and the learning. And I've got, you know, my things here. And the other thing is I'd like to invite our 5 country leads who are gonna, after this, there's gonna be a short break, and then in 1 hour from now, we're all gonna open up the room to the part 2, which is the regional session, which everybody's gonna do a little bit differently. Can I invite just each of us to do a 30-second sharing of what you're going to do in your room so that everybody knows where we're going next.
For me, Vietnam National Session will start right after this in like 30 minutes. So we will have another room for you later, maybe. But my idea at first was to invite all of you to experience seeing without judgment. That is a very important element in visual thinking practice. Yeah, that's my idea.
Thank you, Chung Lee. And Jillian, would you like to say about your session?
Yeah, mine was about thinking. So like as the Ayat and even Christopher Fuller actually shared how the importance of the thinking. And like when you draw, like it's not about how you draw, but about what you are going to draw. So I was going to like show some case of the like how help people to like think about causality. So I actually made a toolkit of no plastic. It's a kind of plastic, but knowing about the plastic. So I called it no plastic. So like going through those cards and then finding some causality was what I prepared.
Nice. So this is what you'll be sharing in your breakout. Right? Yeah, in your Korea session. Very good. And Tol, do you want to share about your session in Thailand?
Yes, in Thailand we will have the workshop, the national workshop in the next 1 hour. But unfortunately, we are conducting in Thai language, so the content will be the how to becomes the visual practitioner and how you adapt and interpret the ways of the visual communication in your daily life. Yeah, thank you.
Nice, thank you. And do we have Agalia here from India or Chitra?
Yeah, I'm here. So
okay.
Rasaki actually will be hosting the Indian session today, and ours is literally a catch up with a coffee or a tea or any drink from any part of the world. Nice. And we are going to discuss more on why we came into a practice, and it's more about kind of tools and techniques that we will be using. And it's going to be very much a collaborative session, a collaborative discussion, more than any workshop or teaching or learning. It's more of sharing for us, literally with a coffee, with a cup.
Nice. And I'll be, thank you, Agalia. Stay there on the screen. And I'll be doing with Singapore and Malaysia together with Tikahan, and Ayako will be joining us. We're going to do an open space on questions that are of interest to you around facilitation, around application of visual tools, maybe taking some of the questions and ideas that came up from the morning and how do you go deeper into that. And also we have a discussion on metaphors, how to find, create, use them, because it's kind of a foundational part of this work. And I love what Chris said about the dance, listening and finding and organizing that. Metaphors is such a powerful tool. And listening and drawing, that was my breakout session that I was going to do. So that's what we're doing in Singapore, Malaysia, Kopitiam. We'll put all those links in the bottom. Can I invite all of us to put up a coffee cup, the 6 of us session hosts? Can I invite you to put up a coffee cup and that'll be a good screenshot? Who can take a good screenshot of that? What's that coffee cup, Agalia? In Korea, coffee is more famous than tea, right? Apparently. Who's going to take a screenshot? I'll try. I have to put my hand down to do it.
I did, Tim.
Oh, you did already. Okay, maybe
yes,
3, 2, 1. We'll do one more.
Yeah, okay.
3, 2, 1. Make it bigger. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
Tim?
Well done. So, wow, that was amazing.
Tim, can I ask everybody to join a Menti as our last check out before we go to the national session?
Okay.
So, yeah, wow.
Wow.
I have something I can share, if I can share while we're going to the Menti. This is from the really? IFVP 2012 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which was at the end, I went to a baseball game, which was across the river from the venue. And then I got all of the visual practitioners to sign or draw or doodle on it. It was kind of fun little memento at the end of that session.
That's awesome. I want that, Tim.
Ah.
To ask all of you
that was
to
my
get
second
into...
visual conference. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, our last checkout. Really check out. Can you get into menti.com and use the code on the screen? And we'd like to hear from you. What do you feel about IFVP Asia Summit in just one word? And then we can say goodbye to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited for the first answer. Who is the first? Warmly, yay.
Great word.
Yeah.
Warmly.
More, please. More, please. Useful, yes, thank you. Mm-hmm. Oh, Tim, you have prepared a lot. Huh?
What are your gems that you take away from this summit?
Okay.
These are simple visual props, right? It's just a piece of cardboard with tape and a stick, a saute stick.
Okay, we will spend like 15 more seconds so people can input your answer to this Menti. And then we would like to thank you, all of you, so much for joining. And we'd like to see more members in IFVP Asia after this summit. And don't forget, we have Bilbao Summit 2022 next year. Like to already share with us. If we also have IFVP Asia fan page, so that in case you need any support from us, any questions, you just can directly inbox, and we will try to answer and send your questions to IFVP too. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
Thank you. Are we able to send, does everyone have the links for their sessions, the country sessions? Or could we place that on the mural board? In case someone finds it there, easier to find there.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
So I think we do not have more time on this. So
okay.
Julie, Tim, and so you wanna have to say something to the participants? I already said.
All right,
yes.
Thank you so much for our participants, and please receive the big thanks for the volunteers from each country. Without you, this event cannot happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Jillian, you want to say something? Mute.
Julie forgot to open the mic.
Okay, I really enjoyed like preparing all the process, and then like appreciate all of you like pouring your all effort in here, and I really like enjoyed like not only the work, the conference we had, but also all the process we all had all together. So thank you very much, you guys. And 한국 분들은 제가 드릴 2차 링크 세션으로 꼭 와주세요. 지금 열려 있습니다.
We can say something in our language for our.
Okay.
About that, it's really nice. So you want to say something in Thai, please?
โอเคสวัสดีชาวไทยทุกท่านนะครับขอบคุณมากที่มาร่วมงานวันนี้ขอให้มีความสุขแล้วก็ถ้ามีเวลาก็ปีหน้าไปบิลเบาด้วยกันนะครับขอบคุณครับ
First time be hearing
awesome.
to speak in Thai in 4
so
years.
You have a really nice voice.
Agaya, your turn.
Well, first I'll say it in English and then in my language. So we are looking forward for the next 1.5 to 2 hours for the Indian session, and we're hoping to have a very good discussion, and conversation is everything. So we are looking forward for that. நான் உங்க எல்லாரையும் வந்து ரொம்ப சந்தோஷப்பட்டு அழைக்கிறேன். நீங்க எல்லாருமே வந்து எங்களுதுல பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணணும், அண்ட் லிங்க் எல்லாருக்கும் நாங்க அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கோம். அதுக்கேற்ற மாதிரி நீங்க பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணணும். தேங்க்யூ, நன்றி.
That's so beautiful. I wish I was able to draw while you're talking. It's very musical quality. I could just draw the lines. It's kind of a rhythm.
Exactly.
Can I say something in Vietnamese?
Yes, please.
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã đến đây ngày hôm nay. Cảm ơn team volunteer của Việt Nam. Các bạn đã làm rất là vất vả để chúng ta có cái summit ngày hôm nay. Cảm ơn tất cả mọi người rất nhiều và hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở một cái summit khác. Cũng đừng quên chúng ta có Summit Bilbao 2022 ở Tây Ban Nha và cũng có thể chúng ta sẽ làm virtually hybrid hoặc là gì đó thì Chu sẽ thông báo cho mọi người sau ha. Cảm ơn mọi người rất nhiều ạ. Thank you.
Well, Chun-Li, you have amazing energy. I want to acknowledge Chun-Li for
More
her great
energetic
energy and organizing a great
Still
team.
have a lot.
And bringing a lot of friends from Vietnam. So you're a good community connector, Chun-Li. I want to acknowledge that.
Thank you
Phil
so
also
much.
for connecting, and Jiyun and everyone. So my takeaway in English, I could speak Spanish, but it would be so bad. High school Spanish, is this: every drawing is a gift. Go out and give your gift, right? I hope you're inspired by the great speakers and stories and models, that you can be energized to bring your gift into the world, because this is what we need now, is to rethink, reimagine, recreate what's possible for ourselves, for the people that we work with and serve, the community as clients, and help, figure out how to make our world work again. Visuals help us to work through the uncertainty and to reimagine what's possible. So please go forth and change the world one drawing at a time.
Whoa!
Is that in the back? Do I have the right t-shirt? Yay. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you, those of you that are joining us in Singapore.
See you. Thank you so much.
See you in the breakout.
See you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ayat. Bye. See you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ayat and Christopher and everyone else.